All right, good morning, everyone. It is Brenda here for Stamplicity, and welcome to Fun Friday. Now, today's a big day here at Stamplicity. It is our Customer Appreciation Days. It's also Black Friday. Tomorrow's Small Business Saturday, Christmas Open House. We're doing it all today. So, as promised, I said I would kind of show you how we did our make and takes, all right, or the make and takes that will be available here today and tomorrow while supplies last. All right. So this is one of the cards we are doing as a make and take. All right. It's focusing on some Elizabeth Craft products. I'll go through them all. And I'm going to show you how we created this kind of vintage Santa card. All right. So I'm going to put that to the side here and we're going to get started. So let's talk about the products first before I go any further. So it's a variety of products from Elizabeth Crafts. This one here, I love this die. This is from the Everyday Elements collection from Annette Green. This is the postage arches and keys. You get the two layering dies, the arch and the postage. And then you get some keys in here, but I love them and they fit on A2 cards. So that is what I use to cut that arch. And I have that. I love that little dotted design or stitching design on the edge. All right. So that's the die that I use for that. Then the sentiment that's on there is from David's Art Journal specials. And this is the Journal Phrases number 6. We really love these stamp sets. This is number 6 in his collection because it's one big stamp. You stamp it and then you can cut it into all the different little sayings or sentiments. This is great for if you're a planner, if you do art journals, if you are planning on doing the 25 days of December with Michelle. I forget what the actual name is, but the prompts and all that, this is going to work for that as well. All right, so there is that. All right, we're using that for the sentiment. I used a beautiful magical season from the bottom here. All right, the stenciling that's done in the back is this one here, which is Journal Stencils number 9. There are 4 stencils in here. I'm going to flip this around so you can see. There's this great big leaf one, perfect for the fall. Then we have this one here. I call it the pie shape, but I think it's just a fun pattern. You got the grid and then the Christmas trees. All right, so we'll be using that on the background. The only one we're really not using is this one here because it's more fall-like, but the rest of them will work for our vintage Christmas card. And then finally, we are using from David's Art Journal Special Collection. This is this Santa stamp set, which has those beautiful vintage stamp sets on the our stamps on there in all different sizes. And I use this one on my original, and I think I'm using this one on the card today. All right. So those are the products from Elizabeth Crafts. And then the only other things we are using in terms of inks and such are a lot of brown things. Oh, I forgot. We are also using David's paper collection from his last art journal. I forget what this one is, but it's all neutrals. I love it. Love it. Love it. We have them all cut down. But you can see all different bullet journaling, lined paper, graph paper, and they're all double-sided. All right, so they just are awesome. All right, so that's what we use. I forget the name of it though. I forget the name. I forgot to pull it off the shelf, but we just got some in yesterday, so I know we have lots. All right, then just a brown distress ink. We need a good brown stamping ink, and then just some basic products now. Blending brushes, scissors, adhesive, a water brush, and then we're also going to finish it off with some white splatter. And we just got a whole big shipment of this beautiful Japanese watercolor, and all different colors, guys. We got new colors, but the white I love. And the girls were joking about this because I'm like, I needed all the colors yesterday. And I'm like, you don't understand. When I splatter, I get splatter everywhere. And honestly, I was doing a creation, and I think it was actually this one at home. I was doing this, and I had a black sweater on, And by the time I was done splattering, I looked down and I had splattered my sweater, and I kind of freaked my freak. But then I remembered it is watercolor paint. So in the sweater, went in the wash, it all came out. So this is why I love these ones, because I don't like making messes, and I'm a messy crafter. So when I get this on me, it doesn't matter because it washes out. So this is white, and it's a true white, which is lovely. And we'll show you the other colors. There's a beautiful red now. We have a turquoise, a cobalt, an indigo, and black, which is super exciting. So, okay. All right. So let's get to this. All right. So I'm going to just put that to the side. First thing we're going to do is we are going to stamp our Santa on our arch. All right. So this here is the Elizabeth Crafts soft cardstock. This is a cardstock I love using to making my three-dimensional florals, but it's a very unique cardstock because you can do kind of watercoloring techniques on it. So it's not a normal cardstock. So for this here, because we are going to be removing some ink, and I'll be showing you that technique in a second, it's really good that you use either a watercolor paper or the Elizabeth Craft soft finish cardstock will work for this as well. All right, so I have my stamp already lined up in my stamping platform here. Just going to stick my arch in there. And we're going to go ahead, and I'm going to use VersaFine Clear because I love stamping with this. This is the Portobello color in that lovely brown. It's a great ink when you're doing water techniques and such. So this is my go-to, all right, this brand, all right. So we're going to go ahead and ink this up. Now I am on a folding table, so let's hope it will stamp okay. Sometimes a folding table's got a little too much bounce to it, so we might have to do it twice. All right, let's see. Oh no, he turned out beautiful. All right, so there he is. Look how magnificent he is. All right, so we're going to take that out. And I'm just going to give that a few seconds just to dry. VersaFine Clear is a pigment ink. That means it's a slow drying ink. It's perfect for using embossing powders on it. So we're just going to let that sit before I do some ink blending on there. All right, so we're just going to put that to the side. I'm going to move on to my panel here. Which is a ledger paper here, and we're going to stencil. Now this is going to be the background on here, so I just really need to concentrate that pattern on the back side here, and I did forget my double-sided tape. I'm just going to go grab that for a second. Sorry, I didn't mean double-sided tape. I meant just low tack tape because I want to put this down so that my paper doesn't move. And of course I forgot the magnets for my stencil, but I'll make sure we have them for the make and take. All right, so just make sure when you look at your paper, the direction is going the right way. If you're using something that's directional, like the Christmas trees. All right, so I'm gonna just place my stencil on here. And this is going to fit exactly the width of it. All right, so I'll get the full pattern on here. And we're just going to use brown distress ink, all right? So I do suggest using one of the darker distress inks. I'm using Gather Twigs. That's my go-to, all right? So I'm going to pick that up with my blending brush, and I'm going to hold this in place. And now we're just going to blend this around. Like I said, you don't have to do the full panel because the middle part's going to be covered with our Santa, but you want to make sure you get all the trees or your pattern on the outside. All right, so maybe I should have taped my stencil down. So now, oh, that moved. See, I should have grabbed the magnets. All right. And I just have to get the ones in the bottom here. And all right, there we go. I could have went a little bit darker, but it's there. All right, so just for video purposes, we're just going to move on. All right, so that is on. So that one is ready to go. Now you can also take whatever remaining ink is on your brush and then just hit the edges. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to put that to the side, and we're going to go back to our Santa now. Okay. I should have went a little bit darker on that, but we'll just put that to the side. All right. Then I'm going to take my Santa here. And whatever ink is left on my brush, I am just going to lightly go over this. All right. We don't want this to turn a very dark brown. We want just a light coating on the whole arch. All right. So we've just now tinted it with the brown ink. Okay. So you can see, I'm going to pull a blank one here. All right. You can see that I have tinted it. All right. So, all right. Now I'm just going to clean up my mess here. And now we're going to do what we call a bleaching technique. All right. Because we're using water-based inks, the distress inks, we can do techniques with them with water. All right. So I'm going to grab my water brush and get that started. And I'm going to grab a paper towel. You can do a clean cloth as well. So what I want to do is now add water, and we're going to paint in the areas with water that are going to be white, all right, where we want to remove the ink. So I didn't grab my glasses. All right, so I'm going to do his little cuff of his hat. Going to stay in the lines, and then once I have that filled, I'm going to take a clean paper towel or a clean cloth and press on there and take a look. This is what I love about that soft cardstock from Elizabeth Crafts. All right, take a look. Love it. All right, so we're doing the bleaching technique. Hey, David, I just saw that David's on. Thanks, David. This is a great stamp set, David. Honestly, it's our #1 seller this year, I gotta say. All right, so we're just gonna go, and you can go in and just grab a little bit more water. And then again, when you go to press on this, you really want to make sure that you're on a clean piece of the paper towel, because you're going to be removing ink and you don't want that ink to transfer back on to your image. All right. But you can really pick up that ink. Like, take a look how white that is. That is, honestly, that's probably close to the original. Look at that. Awesome, right? Okay, so now we're going to keep on going. We're going to go in. I need my glasses. Oh my gosh. All right, so I'm going to go in with his mustache here, and then into his beard, and a little bit of his hair here. So when you do this, it's good to have a water brush that's got a nice tip on it. All right, not the wide ones. You want a good fine tip one to get into those little nooks and crannies. All right, so there's my first, and I'm going to now blot that out. All right. I'm also going to take my water brush and just kind of go on my paper towel as well, because it is picking up some of that brown ink and you don't want to put it back on there. All right. I'm going to go into with my second coat here, or removal, I guess. Oh, I got a really nice, his beard is super white, guys. It really is. Um, Erin, is that stamp a new one? Yes, it just came out. I don't know, maybe a month ago, maybe a little bit more. I don't know. It's awesome though. It's all, we can't keep it in stock. We just got another shipment in yesterday. So, all right. So there's that. Look how beautiful that is. All right. What else we got? We're gonna do a little pom pom on his hat. And he doesn't have cuffs really on his cloak or robe here, but I see he's got a little bit of sleeves coming out here. So I'm going to do that. All right. And then I think I'm good with this one here. Okay. Oh, his eyebrows. I got to do his eyebrows. Oh, that would have been funny. I didn't do it on my original. All right. Poor Santa. All right, I think we're good. Now take a look at that. Look how beautiful that is. Oops, there we go. Look how beautiful that is. All right. Now you can also splatter this with water if you wanted to, but I think I'm just going to leave it as is. All right. Well, maybe I'm going to splatter with water. So I'm just going to use my water brush and kind of just splatter the water around him. All right, let that kind of water just mellow there. And then I'm going to take paper towel and clean part and just blot it. Okay. Oh yeah, I'm glad I did the water. All right, take a look. Look how fun. All right, there we go. All right, so we're going to let that dry for a second. And we're going to put our kind of card base together. So I'm just going to take my pattern paper here that we stenciled. And oh my gosh, that one is not working. All right, there we go. We're just going to adhere this to a craft cardstock. All right, and let's center that on. Okay, and now before we put our Santa on there, we're going to splatter this piece with the watercolor, the white watercolor. So this is brand new. All right, so this is what it looks like. Isn't it beautiful? It's a great big puck. It's going to last you forever. And then I'm just going to spray just a few sprays of water in there. I'm just going to take a kind of a fine paintbrush and kind of just work it a little bit. All right, just to get that paint started. All right, and then I'm going to load up my brush and then I'm going to splatter. Maybe I should have had a bigger paintbrush. And again, we just have to concentrate that splatter kind of on the outside edge. Honestly, this splatter is going everywhere but my project here. I don't know how those people do it. They just make it look so easy. I'm going to be wearing this. All right. So I'm going to just quit there. You can go put more splatter on. All right. You can let that dry. It dries fairly quickly as long as you don't have like big blobs of the watercolor paint on there. All right. While that's drying, we're going to go ahead and grab our little sentiment. And so honestly, because I only needed that bottom one for this one, the Beautiful Magical Season, I honestly just took the little offcuts when you cut your mattings and all that for your card making. These are just a little bit, I save them, right? So they just fit perfectly. So this I do need to fussy cut out. So I'm just going to hope for the best here. And I left this white, all right? I did not ink the edges or anything because I wanted to really kind of bring out those white elements on our card, all right? The bleached out effect as well as the white watercolor paints. All right, so that is trimmed out. All right, we're going to take our lovely Santa and we're going to pop it onto our card. So I'm just going to stick some foam adhesive on here. And we're going to stick that in the middle of our card front. Now my watercolor might be a little wet, but that's okay. It will still dry. All right, so we got that on there. And then we're going to grab our little sentiment. We're going to add a little bit of adhesive just kind of in the center part. You don't have to go edge to edge because it is going to hang off the bottom of the arch. And then I am just going to center that just underneath the Santa. We want to bring it up to from the edge of the arch. And we'll stick that down and our card is done. All right, so there is our vintage Santa card based on all the lovely products from Elizabeth Craft Designs. And one of our make and takes for today's celebrations. All right. So if you're here today, you're going to be able to make this. All right. So that is part one of our Fun Friday, everyone. I'm going to move to the front. I'm going to get set up. I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop the video here, and then I'm going to restart for part two. I'm going to move to the front to do our next make and take for today, and that's using rub-ons. And I want to show you a real clever way of building a nice collage look with rub-ons using your die cut machine. So stick around. I'll be on and then I'm going to come back on for part two. So I'll see you in a bit.